Hi everyone, welcome. Really glad that everyone is here today. I'm Yukti and I will be your moderator for this session. A few quick things before we get into it. Your mic is muted for the duration, and if you have any trouble with audio, try leaving and rejoining, or if not, feel free to ping us and we'll try to get it sorted for you. The chat is open and drop the questions there as we go. And we have George who will be taking care of the chat as a panelist, and he's the VP of Solutions Engineering here at Kognitos. So thank you, George, for joining. We also will have a dedicated Q&A at the end, so we will get to it, get to as many questions as we can live, because that's an internal policy. So no matter what your question is, feel free to ask away. The recording will be sent to every registrant today after the session ends, along with all the relevant resources. So keep an eye out for an email from us. So Neeraj, can you please share the slides? I have an important announcement before we kick things off. All right. So today's webinar is, as you all might know, it's called Claude for Month-End Close, and we have something fun for you. So we are giving away a pair of Apple AirPods Pro Max today. One winner. It's 3 easy steps to enter. So pretty self-explanatory. Step 1, follow Kognitos on LinkedIn. Step 2, post your #1 takeaway from today's session. And step 3, tag Kognitos and use the hashtag AI for Finance. You will have 48 hours to enter the session, and the winner will be announced on May 13th through our official Kognitos LinkedIn handle. So stay tuned and keep an eye out for that. Congratulations to our previous winner, Olivia from Ozark River. We loved your post, and we're really looking forward to see everyone post this time. So please feel free to tag us, and we will check it out. So, all right, let's get into it. Joining us today are 3 leaders at the forefront of enterprise AI and automation. First, we have Binny, who's the founder and CEO at Kognitos. Binny studied computer science at IIT Kanpur and University of Illinois, and spent nearly a decade at Nutanix, rising to the CTO of cloud services, and founded Kognitos in 2021. So he holds close to 100 patents and has a career in making AI accessible through plain English. And next, Neeraj. Neeraj, thanks for doing this webinar again with us. So he's the Chief AI Officer at Kognitos. And before Kognitos, Neeraj has been in the space for a very, for a reasonable time. And he has advise CXOs and at one of the world's largest organizations on scaling AI. He's also a co-author of Intelligent Automation, Bridging the Gap Between Business and Academia, and also a great guest speaker at various institutions. So we also have George, who's the VP of Solutions Engineering at Kognitos. George works directly with enterprise finance and ops teams to implement and scale automation in production. He will be joining us during the Q&A and will be there on chat, as I mentioned. So Binny, Neeraj, over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yukti. Thanks for the great introduction. Hello, everyone. As Yukti mentioned, Binny and I will be actually talking to you today. So first of all, thank you so much for registering and being here with us, many of you again for the second time. So it's great to really see that interest of getting AI in finance. And frankly, being in this space for that long, I'm not surprised that folks in finance or related to finance are so interested in the new technology, because that has been historically the trend to always have finance leading the space, right? So coming from such a long background in technology space, myself personally, going back all the way from mainframes, actually started really in the finance space. General ledger was actually the first thing in the mainframes. We have gone through the ERP space. Again, finance was leading there. Machine learning, AI is really not a new space for finance as well, because it's using for fraud detection, forecasting, and whatnot. And many of us have firsthand, including myself, have seen the intelligent automation and RPA era by having initial bots also in the finance space. So the point really is that there is a very clear history of finance leaders, finance analysts, adopting the new technology to bring in efficiency on it. AI is already that place. That's what we'll be focusing on today, particularly taking the example of the month-end close, which we all know how complex month-end, quarter-end, year-end close could be. So with that, Benny?
Hey, Neeraj, thanks for starting the webinar here. Folks, thank you for taking the time to join the webinar. I know everybody is busy, especially in finance, and a lot of us are doing month-end close as we speak for the last month. I see George is saying hallucination is always an issue, no matter how strongly you manually manage Gen AI tools. Absolutely, that's why we are here. We're here to talk about how we leverage AI in a safe and responsible manner in finance. I started this company on the principle that computers have been invented to figure out how to avoid the one thing that humans are bad at, which is logic and repeatedly without any mistakes. That's what computers did. In fact, the role computer back in the days was actually a human being working in a company. They were called computers. And then, but they would get tired, they would make mistakes. We would not say they would hallucinate, we'd simply say they make mistakes. Now we are in an era where AI is able to mimic humans, but do we really want to mimic what humans actually call as a weakness? No. But there are ways of leveraging the strengths of AI. And that's what we would like to talk about. If you look at the relationship of AI in finance, it has been a long-standing relationship. In the early 2000s, we were doing forecasting. We still do forecasting. A lot of forecasting happens, whether it's stock markets, whether it's even a company's financials, financial planning. Anomaly detection became a really big business. Fraud detection, what happens when I use my credit card and it's a weird transaction. All of that is being done with AI. Then around 2015 or so, a lot of investment happened in risk and credit. You're looking at understanding the risk based on the past transactions that a person has, or whether it's for loan granting. Using AI has been achieving better results for finance, and obviously FICO scoring and all of that has been, even 1950s, 60s, that's where all of that started off with basic models. And for a long time, Excel, macros were doing that, but it's getting sophisticated. Now we are, after 2023, there's a lot of Gen AI being proposed in finance. There's a lot of interest people have. We are here to talk about it, how it's changing the game and what's the responsible way of moving forward. Neeraj, let's look at the next slide.
Absolutely, yeah. So taking on that Gen AI and agentic view, what Benny has just shared with you all, one thing which is very consistent, and in my role here, talking to many CFOs of our customers and even other leaders in financial space, there's a consistent story that this whole wave of agentic AI, it's actually really here to solve a lot of existing problems. We'll talk about some of those in this webinar also. It's actually here also to bring in the kind of efficiencies which previous eras of technology in some ways promised but couldn't deliver, or delivered but in a limited fashion. So one story here is like, hey, autonomous month-end close, huge promise there, but yet to be seen something like this. Like those who are really dealing with the month-end close on the audience, they know sometimes it's even laughable to even consider that I can do a month-end close in an automated fashion. But we can certainly reduce it. We can try to really see if I can do that in 1 day or 2 days rather than dealing with 12 days or 10 days of month-end close in a larger organization settings as well. So there is from a top leadership perspective, there's a lot of promise which either vendors or other industries has been talking about. But when it comes to the reality on the ground, when the analysts in finance or controllers really dealing with even a process like month-end close, hallucination and journal entries cannot be accepted. We're talking about we can't even explain why certain decisions have been done, especially during the auditing process. That actually leaves with a lot of SOX exposure on this as well. And the most important thing is, if I've done something, how do I unwind that as well? If the agent has done it, who becomes responsible for that, right? Is it someone in my organization, or if the agent has decided doing it itself? And we have heard so many stories in the media also already on that. So with that as a point, let's start with actually our first poll today, because we want to actually see what you have done as an audience here. Pick any of your favorite Gen AI tool, be it ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever you use it. Uh, Yukti is going to paste one prompt for you, which is a very simple compound interest mathematical form. We want you to try that using your favorite tool and let us know your answer in the poll itself, right? So Yukti, go ahead. Let's do that. We'll share the answer as well and see how many of people actually get it right or not. And it's not really people, it's really your tool. And let's see, a true hallucination on that.
Cool. Yeah. So just take this, paste it into Claude, Gemini, or your ChatGPT, whichever one that can go and give that an answer. And also let us know what model you're using. Is it the latest and greatest Opus 4.7, ChatGPT, Gemini?
Yeah. So Yukti, let's kick off the poll if you have already pasted the question.
So, folks, for easier following along. Okay, so we already have some answers rolling in so from
So the answers are rolling in,
coming.
but if you can put it in the poll, that'll be better.
I'll make the poll live. Second.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. So while people are working on this, what I would like to talk about and explain is like what is happening here, right? So already one answer has come from Pavan and Shu. It's 232,500. Another
there are already three answers and all are different.
All are different, right?
Yeah.
Now this is a simple, like my son can do this, and when he was in middle school, he would like to just use a calculator, not mentally. But you know what's happening here? This is sometimes AI is doing things mentally. It mimics humans, right? Now, how should we approach this problem is the fundamental thing that we have been worried about and also working. There are two kinds of intelligence out there in the world. One is what I call symbolic intelligence, deterministic intelligence. If people have seen the old Star Trek movies, there was a character called Spock. Spock was, didn't get emotional, was always logically sound personality, but could interface really well with humans. Spock would be the ideal AI for finance. Spock will not give you, so far I'm seeing, all answers are
there
different.
Are dozens of answers, none of them matches right now, or maybe couple of them.
Yeah, so we call it neurosymbolic AI that can interface well with humans, understand the language of humans, translate it into a logical plan, but execute the logical plan without guesswork, right? That is what is neurosymbolic AI. That is what we have been working in Kognitos. The other kind of AI, which is generative AI, like you give me a problem, I will generate how to do that on the spot. And I generate it this way, that way. And we have answers from Claude, Gemini, Microsoft Cowork got that one. So Cowork is good. Okay, so Copilot, Cowork got that right. But it all depends on the model, the time, like, the same model behaves differently. You ask the same question to a model 10 times, you get different answers, right? Nobody wants a finance department that if I ask the same question, I get different answers. That's the fundamental thing that one of the participants said earlier as well. Like, how do you do that? Neeraj, maybe
so looks like they can continue to post it. Yeah. They can continue to post the answers. But the point really what we wanted to come across is that how AI really can hallucinate. It's not the news for you, but having a genuine, simple mathematical formula in AI, if you compare with the calculation done there, obviously there is only one correct answer here, which I've just shared on the screen, but that's AI for you guys, right? So let's move on. Now, since we have seen this, the key aspect, the main risk why today's AI, even though finance has been dealing with machine learning, which is also probabilistic for ages in certain areas, but they can't really rely on this whole frontier model aspect of AI. So let's look at it. Let's bring it home from a month-end close, quarter-end close perspective, right? So our focus today will be to show you how the month-end close is done. There are a few aspects of closing here. One is it takes way too long. Large organizations, mid-market organizations, it's actually really in multiple days which go. Sometimes there is a joke also that am I closing a month or I'm starting a new one, right? So there's an industry average here. Over 8 days it takes to close a month. 60% time of any accounting team throughout the month goes actually in all the closing activities, reconciliation, reporting, and all that. And the worst here is that 1 in 4, so 25% of time, the month-end close, even after close, they had to do some adjustment and correction as well on this. And I'm sure a lot of finance folks, controllers, and CFOs on this call would agree to this. So why all this is taking that, right? So we try to categorize this into 4 key areas actually on this. So there are certain things which are bundled here together. One thing which is time and again, which we have observed working with not only with our customers, but with our previous background also on this, that in finance, the data is not in one place. There are multiple data sources. So data fragmentation and scattered nature of that is very common. You have ERPs, you have bank portals, you have subledgers here, you have some invoices and purchase orders, and where you have some dependency on your external customers and vendors. So it's all over the place for you to really come to a place where you can say, okay, I have my bank reconciliation done, my subledger reconciliation done. I'm ready to do some variance analysis to see what differences are there, all that sort of a thing. The reconciliation itself, the second aspect is way too complex. We are talking about, in our example, we'll give you actually a single entity, but you'll see the complexity when it becomes from a multi-entity, multiple currencies over here. From taxation point of view, if you have to do it on a quarterly or yearly basis, there are a lot of targets where the taxation has to be filed, right? So there are a lot of reconciliation related aspect on it. Variance to me personally becomes very interesting over here because this is where the whole tribal knowledge of the organization really sits, right? Because people in the finance or outside are communicating over email or phones, and it's really in their head or in the email chain where you have why certain decision was made in the way it is made. If you have approved an exception, if you have accepted a risk, why those things were done, the decisions are really on this. That's what we are also focusing at Kognitos, to really how bring those tribal knowledge into the system itself, so it's really captured and it's auditable as well. So that brings to the last point about the audit trail aspect of it. How many times we all have done, even though I come from technology background, I have spent so much time personally on the finance auditing to really look at. It takes weeks and weeks to even answer sometimes certain very basic questions, just because we didn't have enough logging, or sometimes we didn't have any way to capture why certain action was taken as well. So that is also one of the focus at Kognitos, to really make it more auditable for that. So with these 4 key categories of challenges for any close month, quarter, or year, that's what would be our focus today also going forward. So Benny will talk about on this. Yeah.
So yeah, I would like to quickly jump into the demo as well. So I'll cover this slide briefly. So Neeraj has talked about these 4 problems and where finance is working. What do you have available? You have Claude and other tools, right? We believe that those are really great tools for ad hoc querying, for doing some research that you want, but the way it accesses data, the way it modifies data has to be protected. And we are providing MCP capabilities where you can do read-only research using Claude. You can, if you want to write anything, it has to go through a pre-approved plan. You don't allow it to just go randomly, right? Because if it hallucinates and then goes and puts back the hallucination into your general ledger, you have a problem. So we have a mechanism of making sure that never happens. Slack is needed for coordination and approvals, and Teams is needed for the same thing between humans and AI. That is another thing, and dashboarding. We'll show you all three things. The Kognitos platform sitting in the middle is providing solutions to all of these problems, right? We'll talk about it. Next slide.
All right. So,
Okay, very quick poll. Let us ask this question. How long does your month end close take today? Let's get that answer and then we'll jump into the demo.
Yukti, can you launch it?
The
This will be a
poll
quick
should
one,
be
folks.
live for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. This one should be a quick one for all of you.
Yep, we folks that cannot see, just go to the poll button, and just in case it did not pop up for you, please feel free to vote, because we would love to get more and more responses so we can get better, make a better conclusion. So yeah, we are actually seeing some answers. 30 people have answered, 41, and the second. Okay.
Yeah. So as people are answering, what we would like to do is understand why it takes long, and also provide ways of accelerating that using AI in a safe manner. So month-end close has a bunch of different things that needs to run in parallel, but each thing that runs is regimented. There is a process for doing those things, right? So as an example here, for month-end close, we have created 9 different agents. Now, these agents are deterministic agents. They cannot hallucinate. They have a process that is written down in natural language, in the language of the business, but we have an engine that runs natural language as if it was code. Like Python never hallucinated. Our English as code also never hallucinates. We have an interpreter for English. So it runs that in the language that finance understands. And if there is any question, it will reach out over chat, over a natural interface, get feedback, and then continue, right? So that's the high level. Are the polls almost done?
Yes, we have a lot of answers.
Okay.
Folks, there's some more slots for the second question in the poll. So if someone did register, you can scroll down and okay, so we are already seeing more responses coming in.
Cool. So now all of these individual actions, when done manually, take a lot of effort. And we would like to show you how that can be done in a more efficient manner, right? Next slide. So I'll share my screen. Let's see. So you guys can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I could see it. Yeah. All right. So the poll results have come in. Only 5% people do it less than 3 days, and majority is like 7 days or more. Here, what we would like to show is a set of finance applications that are available on top of the Kognitos platform. Now, our platform has agent makers, has application makers. Now, using the app maker, we have built these 3 applications, but you could build as many applications as you would like that are custom as well. We will be launching that soon. Stay tuned in a future webinar. Know your agent. It's very important. When you have a bunch of agents that are doing something for your business, knowing what they're doing, and understanding the risks around them is actually kind of more important than just having the agent do the work for you. It's like having employees that you have not done background check on. I mean, that's not acceptable in any business. Same thing with agents. And then here are the settings. So I'll just start with a quick overview. Here in the settings, you can connect to the ERP of your choice. Right now, we have connected to ERP Next. It's simple to demonstrate. And then you can use this to enable a Slack integration, a Teams integration, a Claude integration. That's that. We have Agent Maker. This is a platform where you can go and build the agents. Here you can see Bank Reconciliation, Exception Manager. These are the agents that have been built for end of month close. Obviously, you can do a whole lot of different things. We are focused today on end of month close, right? Now, in terms of knowing your agents, know your agents is a new field that is coming up. People are defining agents. What's more important is understanding the risk around the models. And we are very strict here. So we flag things based on three things. One is how much LLM calling is happening in the agents. Now, we have some agents that do not need to do LLM calls because there's 100% deterministic. It's math. And as we saw earlier in this webinar, we should not use LLMs for doing math. So this will flag it. Anytime you're using an LLM for doing plain math, it's going to say, nope, that's wrong. You should use LLMs only when it is a generative ask, right? You're summarizing, you're writing an email or something like that. Anytime you use an LLM, there must be validation. If you're skipping the validation piece, then it's again a risk. Now, validation has to be deterministic, cannot be done again in a way that could also hallucinate by itself. Complexity of the whole agent. All of these things are important to understand. And this is something that is evolving space. We are learning a lot from what's happening out there. And we are providing this value back to our customers. So month-end close, there are these agents right now that we will be showcasing. In the future webinars, we'll talk about accounts payable, accounts receivable. Each one, there's a lot of things we can go into. Now, here is the month-end close app. Neeraj will be talking about that. Right now, let me go ahead and hand it over to Neeraj. Neeraj, if you can showcase how we are going to use these agents, that'll be very useful.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So let me go back here. So what Benny has actually shown, let me refresh it. So what you're really seeing here is the month-end close app, which is built on top of the whole ecosystem to really allow you to essentially perform the month close activity. So as Benny was explaining in this case, right? So, and we will do a demo in just few seconds about how the month-end close is done. There are three components which I'm going to show here. One is look at from a leadership point of view, from CFO controller's perspective. They can even interact with Claude, right? So that Kognitos can give you answers about what questions you are asking. Hey, am I ready to start month-end close, or what is the status, what's the open items, and things like that. This dashboard, which we are saying, that's also the place to go as an alternative place to go to really monitor the activity of the month-end close. So what you will see here is once we kick it off, you'll see a lot of phases here popping up based on the checklist defined. Now, as Benny was showing you earlier, all these agents, you have an access to go here, and you can actually also look at, how any one of these and how in English, all these agents are really built. The one thing which I really want to highlight here, because every organization does their month end and quarter end and year end in a slightly different way. This is customizable. So the example which we have built here as a base is available for you to adopt, right? It does pretty much 70-80% of the things which you are anyway doing it, and you can configure that as well. So for example, in this sequence here, we have listed all the steps which are needed for a month-end close, and in some cases, even the quarter end and year-end close, which are very specific, like quarterly consolidation or the sending the package to board, and taxation, which needs to be done on certain ways as well. But if you have a case where you're doing the taxation filing every month, which I know some do, you can actually configure that as well.
One thing I'd say is like, how do you configure, right? So it's these SOPs that you're seeing are written by AI by chatting with you. So all you are doing is you're chatting with the drafting agent that we have here, and that updates this. So if you say, no, I want the offset to be 4 instead of 3, right? Or now I have 2 banks, it's going to change the SOP for you. And the SOP, as it is changed, it's also code that runs, right?
Yep. So now, in interest of time, won't go into all agents over here, but this is our place to monitor the process. But as you can see on the left side here, There are multiple banks here, which we are going to deal with, right? So there's an operating bank account, there's a payroll account, there's a savings account, all those kind of, which will require a bank reconciliation. There's a subledger for AP and AR and others for fixed assets. So all these steps you will see, and finally the certification. But there are two important things here is this checklist, which I was just talking about, that how you operate your month-end close, you can monitor those steps also over here when we kick it off. Here, and the final thing, this is very important from a SOX compliance as well as every single step, which actually those automations and agents are doing in English, you will have access to going there and what were the inputs, what were the output at a large level, but then on the agent itself in English, when you look at it, every single line, you'll be able to see the input and output for that too. All right, so let me actually start this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Claude as a CFO or controller, and I'm requesting this that, okay, can I kick off my month-end close? So let's see what is the current state. So basically, it's going to look at the state of the previous month, any open items at this point. All right, so essentially it's saying there's nothing in the prior months. And since we have not really kicked it off, so essentially it has given me a green to start that, right? So Vinny, let's start this. So folks, you'll see essentially here, now what we are doing is, we could do this in multiple ways, but today what we are going to show you is through Slack. You can do it in Teams also. So Benny, as a finance analyst here, has kicked this off, this process, which you will see in a bit popping up. And I'll start showing you how in the monitoring way, you're able to see what's happening on the month-end close, see the variances, see the exceptions, able to close it also from chat as well as from the monitor, right? So there are multiple ways of doing it, whatever suits you.
So let me explain what's happening in the backend. Also, John on the Slack was asking a question. How is the we're chatting with the Slack app, and the Slack app obviously is LLM. So how is it going to first of all pick the right steps to execute in the right order, and then the steps that it executes, how does it make sure it's not using the wrong formula and so on? So there's two questions, very good questions, and I'll tell you the answers here. So first of all, this Slack application is a layer on top of Claude, right? In Claude, it could be something else, whichever you pick. You want OpenAI, we can do that. If you want Gemini, we can do that. But it's a layer on top, and it is exposing certain deterministic functionality to the user so that they can invoke the deterministic functionality. So there is a top level orchestrator, and that knows what is the dependency between different automations that you have. And then each automation, those are also deterministic. And you have the interface layer, which is the LLM layer. So that can obviously help you guide. So right now I have just started this month-end close. And it is asking me, should I distribute the work? So Neeraj, you can show what the state is while I'm asking it to go and distribute. One more thing as Neeraj, go ahead actually.
What I'm saying, so now this started because they're basically what has happened when Benny kicked this off. This is what our way of doing the close. So these are all the tasks which has to happen. And the distribution part, which he has just kicked off, is essentially who's doing what, who's responsible for each task. So that's really also configurable, as we mentioned. So it's going to put a role here, but once we have a configuration of your employees, there would be an ID or a name of a person also on that, right? So all these stages are here based on the distribution which Vinny has just kicked it off, and you're able to monitor those states. So let me take a moment here. Now, you see this matrix over here is sparsely populated, mainly because of the different nature of all the month-end close, right? So the close which we are doing The boxes which are over here are the one which will be really performing some activities on it. For you, it could be slightly different. If you're doing quarter end, it will certainly be different. If you're doing year end, it will be certainly will be different. So what we're saying for our general ledger, we have started the cutoff, and soon the reconciliation process will kick off as well. So Vinny, let's continue on this.
Okay. So now the reason we brought it into Slack and Teams is because month-end close is a team activity. A lot of people would like to collaborate here. I can go and say, hey, I don't know the answer. Ask Andrew and he knows the answer. Or sometimes you escalate an approval and so on. So that is why the finance month-end close can be done through Slack and people can monitor it. There are a whole bunch of features here that we can go into, in more detail, but today we're going to go through, show you the entire flow. Obviously, this takes many hours for people to do. Here, we're trying to squeeze it in 10 or 20 minutes to show you all the steps.
All right, so now it's actually is going to kick off the bank reconciliation. Can you carry on?
All right, so let me go yes. So each time I'm asking it to go proceed, it is running an SOP in the back, the kind that Neeraj showed. And you can actually go look at those runs in the audit trail as well.
So there are two ways of doing it, Vinny, I'm about to show, right? So one is you either click it from here or you can go from the audit trail also over here. Obviously, for many people, it will become much easier to do it right from here. You must have noticed, someone must have noticed that there is already this one exception which has popped up because of this reconciliation which just ran. I'm going to go back to that, but let me first show you. This is actually what has run for you, right? So all these highlighted steps on the reconciliation has already run, and you are able to see the input and outputs also for all of that, right? So now if you look at it, this exception which I'm talking about here is only for one reconciliation. So it's likely actually for the operating account. So we'll come back to that in a bit, but let's carry on on this reconciliation. So we can actually try to reconcile the other two bank accounts as well.
Yeah, and on the Slack, on the chat, Mahidar is saying, how does it handle several entities? Yes, right now, this application that we're showing you is for single entity. Notice that this month-end close is an application built on top of our platform. So just like the SOPs are configurable, we have an app maker that is configurable, that can configure these apps as well. So multi-entity month-end close can also be made. We just have to go and configure it using the app maker.
Yeah, and it's so this is single entity, it's multi-entity and multi-currency also, depending on if the entities are geographically in the different regions, all that would be, is supported over here.
So yeah, here we have three bank accounts. One is an operating account, one is a payroll account, and the third one is a savings account. So right now it is doing a reconciliation and it has run the SOP for reconciliation of bank 3 times with the different accounts and provided, figured out what the exception should be and so on. Neeraj, go ahead.
And you can see actually all of those here as well, that these 3 reconciliation is done. You're able to see directly in this, so you stay at one place, that all these 3 reconciliation, these are 3 bank reconciliation which Vinay is talking about. This is the last one for the savings account for this. This one is for the payrolls, and this is for the operating bank on this, right? So, and you see all the numbers over here. These are auditable at a high level, but if you need to really audit every single line for any reason, you're able to actually go here and say, what inputs did I receive? And this is actually in our case coming from the ERP next, but if you're calling from SAP, you would have those inputs and output also for each of these. So essentially, the point I'm making is, for example, this is step number 4, fetch the GL entities And it's actually really for the reconciliation purposes, it's actually telling you what GL entity did it fetch at that particular step. So every step in English is also editable at this point.
So I've been doing, going through these steps, which are regimented. So our application here knows what steps we need to do. And as you can see, we are interacting through Slack or Teams, and our month-end close application is reflecting what's happening. So it's meeting people where they operate, whether they are in a car, whatever. They can go and talk to their team and talk to their teammates, which are AI. But this AI teammate is not something that can hallucinate. The things that it computes are deterministically computed and also updated in this dashboard. So somebody like Neeraj, who wants to see what has happened, you can go here, or Neeraj, you can also go to the Claude interface if you want to ask
Yes.
it, hey. So
yes. So now I can ask here, what is the status?
So now here
so it
it's
already knows
using
that I'm doing the April. Yeah, but
yeah, it's using the MCP integration. So MCP connecting to Slack, MCP connecting to Claude, or whichever consumption layer that you have. The idea is to make sure that the data is available wherever you would like to be. Shall I move on to the next step?
yeah, that's good. Yeah, move on. What is the state you are in? Okay, yeah, let's carry on.
So now it has done the accounts payable reconciliation, and it's now going to look at the journal entries.
So look at, so these are really essentially the subledger. Someone asked about the multi-entity. Again, we are doing this for only for one entity right now. But otherwise, you will see a lot more number of exceptions piling up depending on what we are really processing at this point. One thing which I have not shown enough, so that checklist which I mentioned in the beginning, you can see the status of every steps here as well. But I tend to prefer seeing that all on the same pane over here, and it's able to take me to the agent also from here, so it becomes much more easier. Yeah, carry on, Beneath. Try to finish that in interest of time.
It's doing the variance analysis. That is a lot of, it normally takes 2 to 3 minutes. Does a bunch of calculation. One thing that
seeing some variances here.
Yeah, what would be good to understand is this is highly configurable, and therefore our customers like the fact that they could simplify it to the level that they want. I mean, they don't need all the bells and whistles if they don't have something. So this dashboard is configurable using our app maker, and also the SOPs are configurable, and that keeps the business logic understandable and simple, and also modifiable. So you don't need to be super trained on using a custom point solution and understanding how the different aspects of it work. You can just update the SOP here. And as a side effect of doing it this way, which is also coming out to be the future way of using AI, with AI, you can either do it through prompts, but that's hallucination prone, or you write SOPs that are deterministic. The benefit of that is now we are documenting how business operates, right? It's not buried in some tool. And once you're moving from the old-fashioned tool to a new tool, you don't have to worry about a migration of sorts where you have to really understand how things work. This is actually documenting how the business operates. Let me ask it, how is it going with the variance analysis right now?
And just to point it out, as I mentioned in the bank reconciliation for the operating one, we this is the demo data, so there is a exception there, and the rest you will see in the coming out from the variance analysis on the subledger side as well.
Well, so it finished the variance analysis, and right now we are at 11 out of 15 tasks complete for the end of the month.
this used to be 1. Now there are 9 exceptions here because of a lot of these variances which were flagged. So Binny and I will show you how to close that as well. But yeah, Binny, you were saying something.
Yeah, so I'm asking it to go into the exception triage. Now it has gone through everything and it has figured out 9 exceptions. Now these exceptions is where, human coordination is needed. Some exceptions I'll ask somebody else to go and address. Now let us do it in multiple ways. So Neeraj, which ones are you addressing?
What I close manually from the UI, the bank reconciliation, and then you can do all the variants from Slack.
Okay.
So in interest of time, I'll just say resolved and reviewed. This is where we all know a lot of time goes in analyzing it, but I'm just taking a shortcut for the demo purpose. So I've done this manually, and Binny is gonna take care of this on the chat. So keep your eye on the right. He's accepted all these variants as immaterial.
Yeah, they're not, but I'm just saying it in interest of time. But the idea is to show how we can create an environment where people are empowered with AI to do things in a deterministic way. So this is now, if you want to say resolve something, it will resolve. It says I left 2 open, and when Neeraj refreshes, you'll see on the application, those 7 have been resolved according to what I wanted. All of this is calling our interfaces through MCP. Behind that are deterministic flows that execute.
Let's close the remaining 2 too.
Yeah, please do.
All right. So I'll just close this manually.
Freddy's asking, do you have an option in Spanish? We do not have it here. However, using the app maker that we have, you should be able to build that Spanish layer. Today, using LLMs to translate is very easy. So we can definitely enable you to translate all of this English on the screen into Spanish as a layer on top of this. Using our app maker, you should be able to do that.
Yeah. So now, as you can see, since we have taken care of the, all the open items over here, pretty much 80% of the month-end close is done. The main steps are now left is to really certify it. So you can see, hey, month-end is still not fully closed because there are certain steps which were there in the task has to be completed. We have to lock it. We need the controller sign off on it. And also all the pre-close check, which is the quality check for that, is currently we have configured it only for these 4 different quality checks here, but we can configure it for more than that. So when you went ahead on this and certified it, so if I go here back, you're gonna see, I've never seen any month-end close which has closed in just a demo session, by the way, right? So there you go. Congratulations to everyone.
It's saying final auto certification and lock is the next step. So it has done all the checks, but the certification part, like if you go into certify, it'll show you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's locked. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So that's what it did.
That's why this one is back. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So basically, what we have shown is one example. Every company is different. The SOPs, the details are different. Some folks will say, I would like to do a lot more detailed check. If I'm paying somebody, I would like to make sure, is that a new vendor, is an old vendor? How do I want to deal with it? What are the variances that we allow? It all varies from business to business. What we are providing is a natural language way of capturing that from your business, putting it in these documents. And finally, the future of finance is document driven in a way that AI follows these documents without the ability of hallucinating. And that is the way we have been successful bringing AI into finance. And also, folks have mentioned there are vendors worried about agentic agents going rogue or collection of agents talking to each other, burning tokens. All of those things are real considerations, by the way. So the way we have shown is a very complex month-end close can still be run in a very regimented way so that you have control, yet you have the ability of leveraging the power of AI and in your favorite tools.
Yeah. And what I'm sharing right now on the screen are really those agents which we've mentioned in this whole process as well. This is what me and my team actually does that. So we are available here to essentially help you out in terms of determining what needs to be done. We have given only one example of month-end close, but we have done this for many of our customers so far across finance as well as beyond finance also. So there's a lot of success stories. The way we do this is our field team, essentially of forward deployed engineers who come from a domain expertise, as most importantly also has a AI and automation expertise as well, can sit with you, analyze overall your process, identify the opportunities, and where the process intelligence can really help you, sit with you, help co-build with finance. So you're actually essentially you are building it, but we are helping you on that. And then go through the process of deploying it, testing it out, managing it. And in the end, in this whole process, you are really empowered and enabled to manage your finance processes yourself with the help of the FD group, which we have at Kognitos. So would love to actually take this opportunity to also mention that I will let you. I'm here to share some time with you all. So if anyone is interested in booking a process intelligence session with me, can devote 30 minutes or more if needed to really understand your journey, what you're doing in finance, and essentially discover some opportunities there as well. Before we leave, let's do one last round of poll. Yukti, I don't know if you have already done this before. If you have, then we can share the results as well.
Yeah, this was launched. Give me a second.
Okay. Yeah. So the key point is perfect. That's perfect. So all these key areas which we talked about previously in terms of how finance from a close point of view is struggling. Let me see the results. I'm seeing manual data entry is being the biggest, actually, the reconciliation of fragmented data. Okay, that completely makes sense. That's why we spend a lot of time on our demo as well. And then intercompany consolidations, manual data entry as well. I'm slightly surprised that the SOX walkthrough is on the lower end. But that's primarily because that's not an every month activity, so we may not be seeing it. But when it happens, we all know how bad that could be. That said, in conclusion, we're really sharing a lot of these resources with you, which our customers have done as a podcast with us, some other success stories too, and hand it over to you, Yukti. You're on mute.
All right. Thank you so much, Vinny and Neeraj and George for taking care of all the questions. So folks that joined late, we are actually doing a webinar giveaway. So it's very easy to enter the raffle to get a chance to win AirPods Pro Max. So it's just super easy. Follow Kognitos on LinkedIn. This is mandatory to be eligible for the raffle. Post your number one takeaway on LinkedIn. You can tag us plus AI for finance. You can even tag me or Neeraj, so we have more visibility. So that increases your chances of winning the raffle. And then we will announce the raffle winner on 13th of May through our Kognitos official LinkedIn handle. So previously, the raffle winner went to Olivia from Ozark River. So congratulations. And for others, that it's still time, so you can participate.
Yeah, if there are any questions which we want to address here, let's bring that up.
Yeah, of course.
Yukti, George, anything, because we have a few more minutes, so we want to spend that time in answering any of the questions.
So folks, we're officially moving for the Q&A session. You might see that the chat is open, but for even better addressal of your questions, you can use the Zoom Q&A button, which is present at the bottom of your console. If you don't see it directly, you can click the small dots, 3 dots called more, and it will prompt you to the Q&A button, and click that. Use the console to get your answers addressed. There's actually a lot of questions that are in the chat as well. So Neeraj, Binny, if
Yeah, no, I'm seeing George and Benny has been
yeah,
consistently replying to that. I just wanted to see if there is anything which we want to, it's
absolutely.
worth actually talking about. Benny, do you want to speak to any of these, what you have
Yeah, a
answered?
few of the questions most recently were around security. Yes, so one is just high level understanding of security when using LLMs and in general security when using software, right? We are pushing for a world where um, our customers can go build whatever they would like to build and keep it in house, right? So ours is a platform where you could build the SOPs. Those are your business SOPs, how your business runs, what are the rules that you have around the edge cases. That is completely your property. You could be running it in your own private cloud. You could be running it pointing to your own private LLM that goes through your, the LLM framework that is doing the monitoring for PHI, PII, data, leaks and all of that. So there's a layer of governance that is designed in deploying things. It depends on the use case, the scenario, and how the business wants to operate, right? So we have designs for however you would like to do. Some of the customers already have this in their environment, so we just go in. If it is anything behind a VPN, we can also do that. So ours is a deployable platform that can go anywhere you would like it to be. That is one. The other one is in terms of the concern that normally is there around LLM training. As we said, we use LLMs only to understand the SOP once. So it's not your data, but it's actually your SOP. We want to understand it. We can use your LLM. But when we are running the month-end close, for example, or AP or AR, we are running deterministic logic. We are not asking an LLM to look at the data and figure out, hey, now what's the plan? And that's the reason it runs fast. You're not burning tokens. It's like 90% less tokens. It's more efficient as well. So we don't train any LLMs on the customer data. There's no training involved. Any other questions? I'm sure I'm looking at the questions coming in. How are new SOPs created? Yes, so you can chat with our builder agent and you'll go and talk to it. Let me even share my screen.
Yeah, Amazon.
Yeah. So you're here. Let me go to the agent maker. You go to the agent maker and you'll go and say, I want to create a new draft. And what is the new draft? So there are a few examples. I can just click, I want to do a 3-way match, for example. So this is where I'm starting. I can give it this in a high level. This is what I want to do. And our system is going to work with you, understand what you want to do. And its job is to create that SOP. It'll look at your environment, ask you, what are the backend systems? Do you have SAP, Oracle, NetSuite for this? And then and it'll put in some best practices for you, but you have the ability of chatting with it just like you would be chatting with a finance analyst. It's like, I want to do it this way, that way. So as you see, it's saying, who do you want to connect with? I'll say connect with SAP. And then it'll go in and say, okay, I need to connect the credentials and so on. Look at SAP, discover the entities that you have there. And every SAP environment is custom. So it will discover, it's prompting me, go to the integrations. Here, when I go to the integrations, this is where you can search for all the things that we can connect to. So SAP is here. We can go and connect with SAP and so on and so forth. So it guides you in this whole journey of building the SOP.
This is a good opportunity to address one of the questions John has also asked earlier about, hey, yes, no one will use the math formula there from an hallucination point of view, but what if an element actually picks a completely wrong formula? So when we are building this, what Vinny was just showing, you still have an opportunity to review what you're doing. And the Kognitos engine, the neuro-symbolic engine in the back, is also validating that and making it more efficient, right? So as a user, you have that opportunity while you are building the workflow to validate if there is any formula. That's what exactly you want it to run. So even if LLM has hallucinated in the instructions planning point, it won't get executed until you approve and promote, and then it's executed in a deterministic fashion. Great questions, by the way. This one.
Yeah. Also, you can look at the Gartner report on AI in finance. We are mentioned there as well. Our main point of view is that to use AI in finance, you need a neurosymbolic approach, which is what we've been talking about, so that in finance, you have the guarantees and the guardrails that are needed. So please do look at the Gartner report on AI in finance as well. How many pre-built connectors does Kognitos offer? Which systems are supported? Yes, we have hundreds of connectors, and we also have a dynamic way of talking to a system that you might have, which is custom. Our agent builder has the ability of using HTTP protocol and discovering dynamically as well. So connecting to backend systems is not a big concern as of today. If you don't train the LLM with customer data, yes, we don't. How will it provide personalized result? Yes. So the personalization comes through teaching rather than training. And the difference is we are writing the document, like how you want the agent to behave is documented, both in the SOP, and we also have something which we call the troubleshooting guide, the playbook of running the business when something is not standard. Those are just documented in the form of natural language instruction, and our framework forces any LLM. Like today, it might be ChatGPT. Tomorrow, you might move to Claude, and those things can churn. Just like a human, when a business runs, we write down process, and employees can come and go, but the business does not change because of the written down rules, the SOPs that employees follow. We are doing the same thing with AI. We don't have to do something different just because AI is here. We write down the rules, AI follows the rules. There is no training that we need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, Benny, we're seeing a lot of questions coming in. So, folks, I'll reach out to you over the email as well as I've done previously too, to make sure that we respond to all of the questions which either we have responded here or may have missed it. But feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, drop me an email as well to for any process intelligence session you need. Happy to spend some time with you all to discover and talk more about how you can leverage AI in finance space as well. So please do so. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also at LinkedIn. You can also email me, Binny, BINNY @Kognitos.com. Neeraj is also Neeraj. We keep it simple.
Yepti, over to you.
All right. So thank you so much, Binny, Neeraj, and George for agreeing to do this webinar with us. It's so interesting, and thanks for this amazing session. For folks that we were like, for everyone that we were not able to answer the questions, we will be getting in touch with you. We have another open question from Mahidhar. So it's regarding Oracle EBS. So Neeraj and me and Mahidhar, we'll definitely revert back. And thanks for engaging with us. And we have amazing webinars coming in the future, so stay tuned. And for anyone that missed the webinar, some parts, we will be sending out a recording, so stay tuned for that. All right. Thank you so much for attending, and have a great rest of the day. Have a great rest of the night wherever you are. All right. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all.
Take care.
Signing off.